Now, there's a famous adage that says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. This certainly applies in terms of this pandemic. This pandemic was our first one, but if we don't learn the lessons that were taught, we are going to have shame on us. We're going to be talking about 4 lessons that the pandemic taught me about employment. If you want to find out if yours are on the list, you are in the right place. If you're new to this channel, welcome to our village. If you're a returning villager, welcome as well. So, let's get into it. Welcome to Garden of the Mind, where we reduce stress, improve our health and fitness, and improve our financial IQ every episode. We must believe more than we see. This pandemic should have taught us lessons so we are not returning back to life in the same way that we were prior to the pandemic. So we should have learned some lessons to take with us so that we can then improve upon what it is that we are doing and improve on having a better quality of life. Lesson number 1, brownie points are not worth it. Now let me explain what I'm talking about. If we're talking about coming in early, leaving late so that you can get the attention of your supervisor, those are brownie points. Now, if you're talking about coming in early and staying late because you are responsible and you want to make sure that you do a wonderful job, that's something different. Now, if you are working a job that you really love, they say that you'll never work a day in your life. So if that's the case, then go ahead and do whatever it is that is necessary. But if you are looking to work to get your employer's attention so that you can climb up this ladder of success, then you might consider doing things a little bit differently. Throughout this pandemic, it showed us exactly how tenuous life is. And there were so many people who passed away. And right after they passed away, there were, inside the employment ads, there was their position. So if they passed away on Friday, by the time Monday came, there was an ad for the very position that they left. This lets you know that no matter how good you are at your individual job, there is somebody out there who can replace you. No one is irreplaceable at our jobs. So if you pass away on Friday, maybe even before you go into the ground, there's going to be another ad for your position in the paper. Meaning there is no big reward for how far you go out of your way to try to get your job done. Lesson number 2. Stress is a real thing. Now, we say it all of the time that stress is important. We have to be aware of our stress load. And now we're talking about self-care, which is a wonderful thing. But we still have to recognize that stress is a real thing and stress kills. Now, this past week, I've been super busy. And it reminded me that I could not squeeze a dime in edgewise in between all of the things that I had stacked up in order for me to do. Now, that's something I certainly don't want to go back to. I don't want to go back to a lifestyle of high stress in the same way that I had pre-pandemic. During the pandemic, it gave me so much freedom to do the things that I needed to do in the order that I needed to do them. And the fact that I did not have the travel time that cut into my day meant that I had a little bit more time. So I got quite comfortable doing things at my own pace and not having that stress over myself. So once we return to life after the pandemic, I am not looking to bring that same stress with me. Lesson number 3, we can do everything from home. Do you remember pre-pandemic when you would ask your supervisor if you could take some work home and get it done at home, and they would say things like, well, how do I know that you're working? Or no, we need you to be here in the office for this, or whatever their reason was. This pandemic showed us that we can do our job just as well in person most of the times as at home. So all of those different excuses about us not being able to do our work from home, this pandemic showed and proved that we absolutely can. Now, probably the reason why they may not allow us to do our work from home is because of the economy. By us going to work, sitting in an office, if we're hungry, we have to go outside, we have to go and buy something to eat, we have to pay for transportation. All of these things fuel the economy. Now, this doesn't necessarily say that we can't do our job from home. What it says is that it would be better for the economy if we had to come in because we are starting to spend and helping things move the way that they need to move. Lesson number 4. I know not everybody has the same story, but one of the lessons that I have been refocused towards is that family time is very important. During this pandemic, during quarantine, during the time that I was doing my work from home, I had an opportunity to spend a lot more time with my family. And at first that was a little bit tricky because you had to negotiate space and you had to figure out how to keep the lines from blurring. But there came a point that I started to really enjoy the time that I spent with my families. Even if it was them interrupting my Zoom calls or calling out to me while I was on a Zoom, I still enjoyed the fact that after the Zoom call, I would be able to go upstairs, downstairs, or whatever, and then spend some time with them for just a few minutes, and sometimes that's all it took. So I think that this really shows us the importance of family and the importance of family time. Too often do we think that just because we are with our families, that is quality time. Most of the times when we are with our families, each of us have our own individual devices in hand, and we're not necessarily spending time as we are in the same space together. But we should really focus on spending more quality time, putting our devices down, sitting and talking and connecting the way I think is so important for us as a family. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up. If you like this channel, please subscribe. If you want to know when I post, which is Wednesday, please click on that notification bell. You get that ding on your phone. You know that a new video is waiting for you. And remember, thoughts are actions, words have power, and actions have consequences. And speaking of Wednesday, next Wednesday I will not be posting, so I will see you not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. I'll see you then.